It's really something how certain ideas, especially about money, just uh, they don't really change, do they?
No, they really don't. We get all this new advice all the time, but the fundamentals, they seem, well, timeless.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why we're digging into a real classic today, The Richest Man in Babylon, George S. Clason.
Right. Written way back in the 1920s, but it's framed as these ancient parables from Babylon.
Yeah, imagine that. Financial tips wrapped up in stories from thousands of years ago. And it clearly struck a chord.
Oh, definitely. Sold over 1 million copies. It's often called, one of the most inspiring books on wealth.
I saw the Los Angeles Times even recommended it for, like, everyone. New grads, seasoned investors.
Which tells you the message is pretty universal.
So our mission today is basically to pull out those core principles, right? See what's actionable for, well, for us, for anyone trying to build some wealth.
Exactly. The book presents them as these unchanging laws, almost like financial gravity. You can't ignore them.
Okay, so setting the scene, Babylon. The book paints it as this, like, cradle of financial thinking, where a lot of the ideas we still use kind of got started.
And it kicks off with Arcad. He's the richest man in the title.
Right. What's the setup there? How does his story begin in the book?
Well, some of his old friends come to him, and they're basically wondering, how did he get so wealthy? They all started out pretty much the same.
The why him and not me question. So they're thinking it's maybe just luck, fate.
Yeah, they kind of hint at that. But Arcad, he shuts that down pretty quickly.
He doesn't buy the luck argument.
Not at all. He's very clear. He says it's not about fickle fate. It's because they never really learned or maybe didn't apply the rules for building wealth.
Okay, so it's about knowledge and action. How did Arcad himself learn these rules then? Did he inherit his wealth?
Nope, definitely not. He started out as a scribe, working long hours, copying records.
So just a regular working guy.
Exactly. And at first, everything he earned just went straight back out, necessities, living costs. But he wanted to figure it out. He was determined to learn how to get rich.
And that leads him to Algamish, the moneylender.
Oh.
That sounds like a turning point.
It really is. Algamish gives him this job, transcribing a law tablet, offers him a couple of coppers if he does it fast.
Okay, standard enough job.
But Arcad sees his chance. He tells Algamish, look, I'll work all night, finish this thing for you, but in return, you have to teach me how to become wealthy.
Bold move. Did Algamish go for it?
He did. Maybe he saw something in Arcad's determination. So Arcad works through the night.
And then?
Yeah.
What's the first big secret Alchemist drops on him?
It's so simple but profound. Algamish just looks at him and says something like, you pay everyone else, but you pay nothing to yourself.
Oof. Yeah.
He asks Arcad, what do you actually have to show for all your work? Makes him face the fact that all his earnings were just flowing through his hands to others.
That hits home. It's easy to just spend what comes in. Did Algamish offer his solution?
He did. He uses as a great analogy the wealth tree.
A wealth tree. Tell me more.
He advises Arcad, keep at least 1/10 of everything you earn. Don't spend it, just keep it, and let that pile grow. Like a tree, you keep feeding it with your savings, and eventually it grows big enough to, well, provide shade, provide sustenance, financial security.
So that's the first big rule. Start thy purse to fattening. Save 10%.
That's the core of it. Later, when Arcad teaches others, he uses another simple picture. An egg seller. Put 10 eggs in the basket each morning, only take out 9. What happens?
Basket gets full, overflowing eventually.
Exactly. So the advice for you listening is just that. Every 10 coins, every $10 you earn, keep 1 for yourself.
And it's not just the math, is it? The book talks about the feeling.
Oh, yeah. Actually seeing that purse get heavier, those savings grow. It gives you this psychological win, makes you want to keep doing it.
Okay, but what about people who feel like they're barely making ends meet now? How can they possibly save 10%? The book tackles this, right? With the student who hates budgets.
It does. Yeah, the student complains, says a budget sounds like slavery, like it'll stop him enjoying anything.
I can see that perspective. Restriction.
But Arcad flips it. He asks, well, who makes the budget? The student says, I do.
Right.
So Arcad uses this analogy like a smart pack animal carries what it needs for the journey, not useless weight. A budget isn't about stopping you, it's about directing your money. It helps you cover your needs, yes, but also helps you stop those little leaks, those unconscious spends, so you can save and eventually get the things you truly desire. It puts you in control.
Which leads straight into the second law. Control thy expenditures.
Precisely. Live on maximum 9/10 of what you earn. That makes the first law saving 10% possible.
Okay, save 10%, control spending. What's next? Law 3.
Law 3, make thy gold multiply. This is where it gets really interesting.
Okay, because just saving isn't enough, is it? Gold sitting in a purse doesn't actually grow.
Exactly. It's safe, maybe, but it's not working for you. You need to put those savings to work. Make them generate more gold. That's investment.
And Arcad learned this the hard way at first, didn't he, with the brickmaker?
Oh, yes. His first investment. He gave his savings to Asmor, the brickmaker. Asmor was going off to buy jewels in Phoenicia, promised huge profits.
Sounds a bit dodgy.
Well, Asmor knew bricks, not jewels. He got cheated, lost all of Arcad's money.
Ah, so the lesson is?
Don't take investment advice from someone who isn't an expert in that specific field. As Algamish told him, why trust a brickmaker about jewels?
Makes sense. So Arcad didn't give up. What was his next try?
He learned his next move was much smarter. He lent his savings to Agar, a shield maker.
Okay.
Agar needed bronze to make shields, a productive business. Arcad lent him the capital, and Agar paid him regular rental, basically, interest.
That sounds more like a solid plan, predictable returns.
It was. But even then, Algamish had more advice. He saw Arcad spending that interest income.
Enjoying the profits.
Yeah. Feasts, nice clothes. Algamish called it eating the children of your savings.
Eating the children. That's vivid.
It means spending the returns instead of reinvesting them. The goal, Algamish said, is to let those children, the investment returns, grow up and have children of their own. Compound growth. Build an army of golden slaves, he called it.
Wow. So investments that generate income, which then gets reinvested to generate more income, passive income growing exponentially.
That's the path to real wealth. And Arcad finally got it. He learned to seek out sound advice, make his gold work hard, and eventually Algamish made him a partner.
Okay, which brings us neatly to law number 4. Guard thy treasures from loss. It's not just about making money, but keeping it.
Absolutely. Misfortune loves a shining mark, as the book says. Once you start accumulating wealth, you become a target. For bad deals, for scams, for simple loss.
So you need to be defensive as well as offensive.
You do. The advice is practical. Start small. Learn to protect small amounts first. Get good at assessing risk before you handle larger sums.
And how do you do that? What does the book suggest for guarding treasure?
It stresses due diligence. If you're lending money, really check out the borrower. Can they repay? What's their reputation? If you're investing, understand the risks before you commit. Don't jump in blind.
And talk to people who know what they're doing.
Yes, again, seek advice from those with proven experience in handling money successfully. Protect your principal above all else.
Okay, number 5. This one's interesting. Make of thy dwelling a profitable investment. Home ownership.
Right. The book argues that owning your own home is generally better than paying rent endlessly to a landlord.
Why profitable investment? Is it just about not paying rent?
That's part of it, freeing up cash flow eventually. But it's also presented as providing stability, a better quality of life for your family, a sense of permanence, a place to put down roots, which has value beyond just the financial.
Makes sense.
Wow.
Okay, law 6. Ensure a future income. This sounds like planning ahead.
Very much so. Planning for old age, for when you can't work anymore, making sure you have income later in life.
How do they think about that back then?
Well, the book kind of dismisses just burying your gold. Too easy to steal.
Right.
And Arcad actually muses about something that sounds a lot like modern insurance or annuities. He imagines a plan where people pay in small amounts regularly, creating a fund to support families if the earner dies. He saw the desirability of it even if the system wasn't really there yet. It's about long-term provision.
Fascinating foresight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the 7th and final law. Increase thy ability to earn.
Yeah, this one's about you, personally. Never stop learning, improving your skills, becoming better at what you do. The more valuable you are, the more you can earn.
So it's not just about managing what you have, but actively growing your income potential.
Exactly. Continuous self-improvement. And the book wraps other good habits around this too, like paying your debts promptly, caring for your family, making a will, having compassion. They all contribute to a stable, prosperous life.
It's a very holistic view. Now, you mentioned something earlier about good luck. It wasn't one of the 7 laws, but the book discusses it.
It does, yeah. In the Temple of Learning section, the idea that comes across is that luck isn't just random.
How so?
It tends to find people who are prepared, who take action, who don't procrastinate when an opportunity appears.
Ah, so being financially prepared, having savings, having controlled expenses puts you in a better position to seize opportunities when they arise. making your own luck, in a way.
Pretty much. Financial readiness means you can say yes to a good chance rather than having to let it pass by.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
The book also gives us more stories, right? Like the gold lender of Babylon.
Mathon.
Yes. Rodan, the spearmaker, gets a windfall 50 gold pieces and seeks advice from Mathon, the experienced gold lender.
And what's Mathon's key advice?
Primarily, protect your principal. Only lend where the security, the collateral, is worth more than the loan. Safety first.
He uses examples too, doesn't he? From his token chest. Right. These little reminders of past loans. There's the guy who borrowed gold to chase a woman too, emotional, bad risk. The farmer who borrowed to buy rugs for his side business, productive, good risk. The mother borrowing for her son's venture, but the son knew nothing, bad risk. The youth who just didn't care about repaying character, matters.
So it's about assessing the purpose, the plan, and the person.
Exactly. Mathon warns Rodan, don't let others lose your treasure through their bad judgment or risky schemes. Stick with proven successes. Be wary of anything promising crazy high returns. And his final warning about the king's gift is potent. Better a little caution than a great regret.
Solid advice. Then there's Davasir, the camel trader. He was in debt.
Deeply in debt, living beyond his means, felt like a slave to his creditors.
What turned it around for him?
He had this realization about needing the soul of a free man. He decided he had to get out of debt to regain his self-respect. He found some old clay tablets outlining a plan.
A plan for debt recovery. What was it?
Very specific. 1/10 of all earnings, he kept, that's law 1 again. 7/10 he used for living. And the remaining 2/10 went directly to paying down his debts.
So a strict budget with a dedicated portion for debt repayment. Did it work?
It did. Slowly but surely, he paid everyone back, regained his standing, his confidence, and eventually became a successful trader himself. His story really highlights that phrase. Where the determination is, the way can be found.
That's powerful. And just to drill these core ideas home, the book reiterates them as the 5 laws of gold, right? Can we quickly recap those?
Sure. Law 1, gold comes gladly to savers, save 10%. Law 2, gold works hard for wise owners, invest it. Law 3, gold sticks with cautious owners who get good advice, protect it. Law 5, gold slips away from those investing in things they don't understand or via bad advice, avoid ignorance. Law 5, gold flees from impossible schemes and tricksters, avoid get rich quick.
That really sums it up. Simple but powerful.
They cover the whole cycle, earning, saving, investing, protecting.
Finally, the book kind of reflects on Babylon itself. A wealthy city, famously protected by huge walls. How does that connect to us now?
Well, the book draws this parallel. Just like Babylon needed physical walls for security back then, we need financial security today. Our walls are things like insurance, savings, solid investments. They protect us, our families, from financial hardship.
So even though the city itself is long gone.
Its financial wisdom recorded on those clay tablets endures. That's the legacy.
Okay, so wrapping up our deep dive into the richest man in Babylon, if you had to boil down the absolute key takeaways for someone listening, what would they be?
Well, first, definitely pay yourself first. Save at least that 10%. Second, get control of your spending. Live within the other 9/10. Use a budget as a tool, not a punishment.
Right, and then?
Then make that saved money work for you. Invest it wisely. Don't just let it sit there. Fourth, always protect your capital. Be cautious, get good advice, understand the risks.
Got it. What else?
Consider owning your home for stability and long-term benefit. Plan for the future. Ensure you'll have income later in life. And never stop trying to increase your ability to earn more through skills and knowledge.
It really is amazing how relevant these ancient principles still feel today, isn't it?
It truly is. Simple ideas, but they clearly work across centuries.
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Which of these ancient laws, these cures for a lean purse, kind of hits home the most for you right now?
Yeah, and maybe more importantly, what's just one small thing, one step you could take, maybe even today, based on this wisdom, to start building your own path to, well, a fatter purse?